Welcome back to Flowvia Automations, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how you can set up webhooks in Baserow using n8n. Let's get into it. Alright, so if you can see on the right side here, this is going to be the Baserow that we're going to be working with. It's set up to be a dummy business manager account, so specifically it's for a beverage shop. So you can see on this one row that we're going to be working with called the ingredients, it shows a bunch of different drinks with the name, description, category, and a few other things. The main things we're going to be focusing on are going to be the name and the description. All right, so the first step of what we want to do is kind of just go around and take a look of our base row. You'll see that there's going to be these three dots here, and there's going to be something called webhooks. So you want to open that up, and if you have any other webhooks, they would be here now. But we're going to go ahead and create a new one. We can name this whatever we want. What we're going to try to do today is focus on any time a name is changed. So anytime someone changes a name here, we want to get that webhook received into our n8n. We want to change the description and then re-update it each time the name is changed. So pretty much instead of having to change the name and the description, all you have to do is change the name, and then the webhook would automatically trigger the description to change as well. So if we go back into our webhook section here, we're going to name this description update. And we want to make sure that the method is set to post. And the URL that we're going to grab is going to be from our n8n. So that's where we're going to step into here. We're going to click on the plus and find our webhook node. And then once we're in our webhook node, we want to make sure that we change the method to match over here, which is going to be the post as well, because we're going to be posting to this webhook. And then we want to change the path as well because this path is a little long. I like to always keep the path on par to whatever I have inside of the webhook name, so that way I can kind of just quickly reference it inside of here. So we'll do description dash change. All right, so now that we have that here, for my own preference, the way I like to test things is I always use the production URL, and I'll show you why in a second. But we're going to set this to production. We're going to click this to copy it, go over here and paste it over. Now that we have this, we can either ask it to send us everything. So anytime anything is changed in this table, it'll send it to this webhook. But obviously we want to select to only be individual events because we only want to focus on the name being changed. So once we go down here, we want to select rows are updated, and we want to change this trigger right here. You can keep it to just rows are updated and check for each time any row is updated. But I personally like to just have it set to the specific function. So we'll go into here and select name. Now once we have all of this done, you want to kind of ignore this. Honestly, Baserow doesn't have this set up too well where you can test around with this. And that's kind of why I use the production URL. But once you have all of this, you can go ahead and save. Once you have this saved, you want to go back into n8n, and you actually want to go ahead and activate this workflow. Reason being is we used our production URL, so the only way that the production URL is going to work is if our workflow is actually activated. So now that we have that activated, we can quickly do a test event. So we're going to focus on the banana row. So instead of banana, we're going to change this to matcha. And once we click enter, we can go into our execution tab, and we can see that we got something just sent in to us right now. And once we open that up, we can see all of the data that was sent from Baserow, and we can actually just go ahead and select the JSON tab and copy all of this, and then go back into our editor and paste it here. Reason for doing that is now that we have actual production data that we can work with in testing. This is a little n8n hack that's very useful to use, so that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to paste that data in there and pin it. So now that we have it pinned, we can go ahead and work with it. Let's quickly investigate the data and see how it looks. So very important, anytime a row is updated in Baserow, two full things are sent to you. What's sent to you is the updated item, so the row is updated. It'll show you all the new things, and you can see the name, the new name that we gave it, matcha, and all of the fields along with it. But also what is sent is the old items as well. So it's going to send you all of the old items, which will give us a description of what it was before. So in your workflow, you can work with both, and you can kind of check, okay, which one was this, and you can do any updates based on that. So now that we have that done, we're going to go in and change our description using OpenAI. You can use any AI model or whatever you would like, but pretty much what we're gonna do is we're gonna message a model. We're gonna make sure you have your account selected, and we're gonna easily just use the 4.1 mini. I find it to be one of the faster ones. And then we're gonna keep the response to text user. In the prompt, we're gonna keep it pretty basic for right now. But what we're gonna say is, you are in charge of receiving a flavor or fruit and giving a description of that fruit or item if it was in a drink. All right, so just simply you're gonna get a flavor and it's gonna be a fruit or item, and what I want you is to give me a description of that fruit if it was in a drink, which is kind of on par to what we have over here. So we're gonna go ahead and enter that and give it the data. So we're gonna say flavor, changes to expression, and now we can go down and drag over the new name. So the new flavor that we got was matcha. What we want to do down here as well is make sure that it outputs to schema. I think they've updated that already. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and run that over here. And you can see the output is going to be the text, and it gave us a pretty long description. As you can see here, all the descriptions are about one sentence, so we can actually tell it to make it shorter. Make sure, let's not do that. Make sure the output is one sentence. So now that we've kind of updated that, we can run it again, and we can see that the update is going, the output is going to be a lot shorter. So now that we can have this update, we're gonna go ahead and re-update the row in Baserow. So the way that we're gonna do that is we're gonna add the node here. We're gonna search for Baserow, and you're gonna wanna do update a row. You wanna make sure you have the correct APIs and everything selected. So for us, we are going to be using the order kiosk here, the ingredients table, as you can see. And for the row ID, what you want to find is back to the webhook. When you go into the webhook, you can see the ID has been sent to us as well, which is very nice because we can simply just drag that over, and now the Baserow knows exactly which row that we're referencing. And now that we have that, we can actually select the rows that we want to update, which is going to be the description. So if we go back up here into our model, we can grab this text, update description there, and it should be done. We quickly want to look over and see that if there's going to be anything else that we want to change. So the matcha, it says fruit. It's not really fruit. I would say it's more creamy. So we want to update that as well. So for the category, there's a category called creamy. I'm going to leave it for now just because it probably needs the emoji as well. But you can update anything that you would want in here. And then the last thing that we want to update probably is going to be the drinks. Obviously you can play around with all these, but for this video, we'll just kind of keep it simple and change it to just the description. So if we keep an eye on our matcha row over here, once we click execute step, you're going to see that the description has been changed. So it took that description and it's changed it from the banana to the matcha. And nice and simple. So once we have that, we can save the workflow and we can actually go back and test this a couple more times. So we can go into any one of our workflows and simply change apples. We can now actually make apples the banana. And once we click that, it's going to change the apples. We can give it a second, but from now bananas, you can now see the description has been updated to be the banana description. We'll go ahead and give it one more try for something else. So instead of oranges, we can kind of do tangerines. I know very similar, but let's see what it gives us. So instead of tangerines, you can see the description is still the old one and it's quickly been updated. What's nice too is you can actually click on these three dots and go back into your webhook and it'll tell you if things have been working or not. This is the one that we're working with right now, description update. This is an old one that I don't have activated, and you can kind of see the difference in the code. So the one that we've been using has been working pretty well. It tells us when our last call was, and it tells us that the code was okay. For this one that I have not been using, it'll let us know that, hey, this is not working. And Baserow, I think after just like 3 or 4 attempts of a webhook failing, they'll completely deactivate it. They'll notify you letting you know it's been deactivated, but yeah, they'll completely deactivate your webhook if it's not active. All right, so that's pretty much it. If you want any other webhooks or any other specific things you would want to see in a future video, please let me know down below. But other than that, I would appreciate it if you like the video. Also subscribe. It helps me and goes a long way in making these videos. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.